Can it?
Can you identify who you're with?
Oh, sure. I'm Mark Pasniokis. I'm a reporter with the Connecticut Mirror here in the Capitol.
Yeah.
All right. For you, sir. Yes. You've been pretty outspoken on climate change, and you've asked the public at times to have faith in the scientific consensus on climate change. On this issue, I was here for all your remarks. You have challenged the scientific consensus. So, how do you reconcile those two things? What guidance can you give to the average person who's trying to struggle with things like climate change and this vaccine issue as to what faith they should place in scientific consensus?
Yeah, good question. What reporters and everybody needs to understand, there's a huge difference between the scientific establishment and established science.
Yes.
Established science is not what CDC says, and it's not what Merck says. Established science is what's on PubMed in peer-reviewed publications, and that's the science that the Institute of Medicine looks at. And as I'm going to show in this study, in this PowerPoint, the Institute of Medicine, which is the arbiter, the congressionally appointed arbiter for what is science and what is not science, is with me on this issue. So if you want to know what established science is, what science is, look at the Institute of Medicine. Don't ask CDC. CDC is a vaccine company. CDC, 50% of CDC's budget goes to selling and promoting vaccines. CDC owns 57 vaccine patents. It collects money on them. FDA gets 75% of its budget from the industry. FDA owns part of the Gardasil patent. It gets money every time somebody buys a $420 shot of a series of Gardasil. FDA makes money. Not only that, but individuals within FDA who worked on the patent get $150,000 a year in royalties. And these are the division chairs, powerful people in that agency. Reporters, I learned from my dad, I don't trust people in authority. People in authority lie. The press was supposed to have learned this, at least in the Iraq War. They didn't learn it in Vietnam and any others. I've sued EPA many times for lying about climate science and forcing them to start doing real science on it. This is the same thing as the climate. You have an industry that is creating the same thing as tobacco. There's an industry that is minting and creating phony studies. The problem is that the pharmaceutical companies have much more power with the press than do the oil companies or the tobacco companies, because it's the biggest advertiser. You look at, Roger Ailes told me this. He said, look at one of my news shows. I have 22 ads on an evening news shows, and 17 of them are paid for by pharma. And he said, if I put this issue on one of my shows, I would get a call from Rupert in 10 minutes. And if you look at, there's a censorship in the press. We're not allowed to talk about this. The press is just repeating pharma talking points. You're not showing us a study. But I said, I went to the press club last year with Robert De Niro, and I said, I will pay $100,000 to any member of the press who can give me a single study that indicates that it's safe to inject mercury into a baby. $100,000. Me and Bob De Niro said that. And I can show you hundreds of studies that say it's not. So you've got to learn to mistrust CDC. You can't keep trusting them and writing down what they say. You got to look at what IOM actually says, and I'm going to show you that in a minute.